Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas from Satan! This is my 2023 Christmas deck. The main theme of this deck being, of course, the Christmas gift box of friends. And let's get right into it. If you want to see this deck in action, be sure to check out the previous video in which I showcase my Christmas deck. But otherwise, let's get straight into the deck profile. So to start off, this deck is a Box of Friends deck. If you don't know what Box of Friends does, basically when it's destroyed, it summons 2 normal monsters with 0 attack and defense from your deck with different names. This deck essentially is a rank 4, 6, and 8 Xyz deck and is really cool. It's from the Yugioh manga and it is a lot of fun to play and very Christmassy indeed. So to start off, we have 3 copies of Doll Monster Bear and 3 copies of Doll Monster Miss Madchen. I don't know if that's how that's pronounced at all, but that's okay. So yes, we need both of these cards, and yes, we need them both at 3, and you'll see why in a second, but there's really just no way around that, unfortunately. Next up, we have 3 copies of Box of Friends and 3 copies of Grandpa Demedo. These 2 are the main cards in our deck. So like I said before, the effect of Box of Friends is when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 normal monsters with 0 attack or defense and different names from your deck in defense position, but they cannot be used as synchro material. So when this card is destroyed, you go into Doll Monsters, 1 copy of each on the field. We'll get to what to do with that in a second. Next up, we have Grandpa Demedo, the other main monster in this deck. This card is fantastic. Its effect is that you can attach 1 material from Princess Cologne you control to special summon up to 2 normal monsters with 0 attack or defense from your graveyard, each as level 8 dark monsters in defense position. With this card's effect, it enables us to bring back our doll monsters going into another Xyz, but this time going into a rank 8 Xyz monster. And I don't have to tell you that rank 8 Xyz are generally pretty damn powerful, so that is the main theme of this deck, getting out your 2 doll monsters and going into some powerful Xyz plays. Now to support that, we also run 2 copies of Fortune Fairy Hikari. We only run 2 copies of Hikari because we don't want to see her in our opening hand. She's useless in the opening hand, but we do want to draw into her. When you draw this card, you can reveal it, special summon it from your hand, and if this card was special summoned from the hand, you can target 1 monster you control, which will be herself, send it to the graveyard, and if you do, special summon a level 1 spellcaster from your deck. So Fortune Fairy Hikari allows us to search for our Grandpa Demedo in case we don't have him. Next up, of course, for the Christmas theme, we have 3 copies of Satan Claus. This wouldn't be a Christmas deck without Satan Claus going on, and Satan Claus is, of course, a kaiju, so it is never a bad thing to run 3 of him. He is also a level 6 that can be normal summoned unlike most kaiju, so we can normal summon him by tributing 1 monster, and that gives us a level 6 to go into our rank 6 Xyz plays. For the last of our monsters, we of course have 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring because feet. Next up, we have 3 copies of Doll Happiness, the first of our spells. Doll Happiness is the main spell in this deck and is basically our main starter. So to run this combo, to run this deck, you only need Doll Happiness in your hand, plus either Grandpa Demedo and Box of Friends. Doll Happiness, when it's activated, can search for the other one that you don't have, can search for your Box of Friends or your Grandpa Demedo, and its other effect is that during the main phase, you can destroy 1 monster in your hand and field and then send a doll monster from the deck to the graveyard. So that is the reason that we run doll monsters instead of other normal monsters with 0 attack or defense. And also, if you didn't pick up on that, that will allow us to destroy our Box of Friends, which will then trigger the effect of Box of Friends, bringing out our 2 doll monsters straight from the deck. So Doll Happiness is an absolute must-have at 3. The other spell we have at 3 is Doll House. This is the final card, except for Princess Cologne, that goes with the Box of Friends deck. So Doll House will allow us to special summon a normal monster from our deck or 2 normal monsters from our deck and make them level 6s. So this will summon both of our doll monsters or just 1 and make it a level 6, enabling us to go into some rank 6 plays, which is always fantastic. It also has an additional effect that allows you to end the battle phase if you have Grandpa Demedo and Princess Cologne on your field, which again is really good for just staying alive. Next up, we have 1 copy of 1 for 1. This card will enable us to special summon our Box of Friends or Grandpa Demedo, which is depth absolutely necessary. Pre-race map, same reason, search Box of Friends or Grandpa Demeto. We run this card at 3 because those are very important cards. This deck basically runs on a 2-card combo, like I said, Doll Happiness plus either Grandpa Demeto or Box of Friends, so the rest of this deck is mainly just to search for those cards. Next up we have 2 copies of Pot of Desires, again, draw spells, helps us get into those main cards, 3 copies of Pot of Prosperity to help us search for them more, 1 copy of Terraforming because we run a field spell, 1 copy of Monster Reborn. This card is not only good for just special summoning a monster that you might need to go into an Xyz play or just to get the main combo off, but it also actually has really great synergy with Satan Claus. So we can use Satan Claus to tribute our opponent's most powerful monster, the monster they have on their field that is otherwise difficult to get rid of. We can tribute that monster and then immediately use Monster Reborn to bring it back to our side of the field. I used the strategy like twice in the previous video, and I've used it a few times while testing this deck. It's surprisingly consistent doing this, and it works really, really well, and just generally, you steal your opponent's strongest monster and they can't do anything against you. It's fantastic. Finally, for the main deck, we run 3 copies of Piercing the Darkness. Piercing the Darkness acts as a draw spell whenever you summon a normal monster once per turn, which is already fantastic, but it also acts as a attack booster. Once per turn, when an attack is declared involving an opponent's monster and a monster you control that is either level 5 or higher, or an Xyz monster that has a normal monster as material, you can make that monster you control gain attack equal to that opponent's monster's attack. So this is basically a once per turn honest for most of the cards in our deck. Any Xyz monster that we're going to go into, except for our rank 1, will be summoned using a normal monster, so Piercing the Darkness applies with that. And also if we summon our doll monsters using the effect of Grandpa Demeto or Dollhouse, Piercing the Darkness will affect those monsters as well, which is just really, really good. Yeah, Piercing the Darkness is just great for normal monster decks. So that's it for the main deck of our Christmas deck. Next, let's look into the extra deck. This is where the fun begins. First, we have 1 copy of Divine Arsenal AA Zeus Sky Thunder. Shouldn't need to explain that. Zeus is a great card and a must-have in any Xyz deck. Next, for our rank 8s, we have 1 copy of number 22 Zombie Stein. This is one of the main rank 8s that we're going to go into. Normally, when you pull off the main combo, you're either going to go into Zombie Stein or you're going to go into our number 97 Draglubion. Draglubion's effect will then allow you to special summon your numbers 38 Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, which will negate spell effects, and then Draglubion will also attach your 107 Galaxy Eyes Tachyon Dragon to that card as material. Of course, you can just go into these cards as normal rank 8s, but generally, Draglubion is a better way to get into them. Finally, for our rank 8s, we have 1 copy of Dingesu, the Orcus of the Evening Star. I never really go into this card, but he is definitely a good option with his effects, and is a great rank 8 choice. Next, for our rank 6, we run 1 copy of number 39, Beyond the Hope. Beyond the Hope has a great effect that when it's summoned, the attack of all monsters your opponent controls becomes 0. This makes Beyond the Hope really good for an OTK if it is the second turn or afterwards, and normally you'll only be able to summon your rank 6 on your second turn anyway, so that makes it perfect for this deck. Next, for our rank 6, we have 1 copy of Constella Ptolemy M7. This card is great for getting rid of our opponent's monsters. With its effect, you can target 1 monster on the field or in either graveyard and return it to the hand. This card can also, of course, be used to bring back our Box of Friends or Grandpa Demeto to go into more Xyz plays. Finally, for our rank 6s, we have 1 copy of Photon Strike Bouncer just to negate card effects. With this card's effect, once per turn during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated on your opponent's side of the field, you can detach a material from this card to negate the effect and inflict 1000 damage. So negating card effects is a common theme in this deck with Zombie Stein, Titanic Galaxy, and Photon Strike Bouncer, and is the main thing that we're going to be going into to control our opponent's field, since our monsters generally don't have that high attack. We want to really control what our opponent's doing. So that's the main thing with this deck. Strike Bouncer, Titanic Galaxy, Zombie Stein to negate those effects, and then Satan Claus to get rid of any of our opponent's cards that would monsters that would otherwise be difficult to get rid of, and of course Ash Blossom negates effects as well, really just disrupting our opponent straight from turn 1. Next we have our rank 4s. Starting off, we of course have Princess Cologne. This is one of the main cards in the deck. The strategy with this deck is to go into Doll Happiness to get Demeto and Box of Friends, then destroy your Box of Friends, bringing out your 2 normal monsters to your field. You then link these 2 into your... you then overlay these 2 to go into your Princess Cologne, normal summon Grandpa Demeto. Princess Cologne's effect will bring back your Box of Friends, so now you have 2 level 1s to do another Xyz play, and then Grandpa Demeto's effect will detach a material from Princess Cologne, putting 2 doll monsters in your graveyard, as one will be sent with Doll Happiness as well, and then special summoning them both as level 8s to go into your rank 8 plays. I'm going to show that at the end of this video so that you understand how this deck really works. Next up for our rank 4s, we of course have Time Thief Redoer, number 41 Baguska, the terribly tired pair. We have 1 copy of Abyss Dweller and 1 copy of Tornado Dragon. Again, main theme of this deck is negation, controlling our opponent, controlling what they do, controlling their field, and disrupting their plays. So that is why these options are the best. But the main option, you're basically only ever going to go into Princess Cologne for your rank 4s. But in the event that you can't, for some reason, go into your rank 8 plays, these are fantastic options as well. Finally, for our extra deck, we have 1 copy of Lyrilisk Ensemble Robin. This card has a really ridiculous effect that when your opponent special summons a monster, you can immediately bounce it back to their hand, which is just a really good effect, and it is not once per turn either, so you can do that twice or more depending on how many materials you use to summon Ensemble Robin. That makes Robin just a really good option for your rank 1s, and you will generally have a rank 1 play to go into. So now I'm going to show you how this deck actually runs. So like I said, this deck runs a 2-card combo. You will need your Doll Happiness, and you will also need your Box of Friends or your Grandpa Demeto. It works either way. So what we're going to do is activate Doll Happiness and use its effect to search the other one that we don't have. So now we have both Grandpa Demeto and Box of Friends. You just search for whichever one you didn't have already. Next, you're going to use Doll Happiness effect to destroy Box of Friends in our hand, and then send 1 of our doll monsters to the graveyard. It does not matter which one, just make sure you remember which one you sent. Then the effect of Box of Friends will activate, special summoning our 2 doll monsters straight from our deck in defense mode. Now we're going to overlay these 2 and go into Princess Cologne. Then with the effect of Princess Cologne, you're going to special summon Box of Friends from your graveyard. This just gives us an extra level 1 on the field to go into that rank 1 play. And then we're going to summon our Grandpa Demeto. Next, we're going to use his effect. Now, again, take note of the normal monster in your graveyard. I send Bear to the graveyard. So what we're going to do is detach Mismatched In. So make sure that you detach the one that you don't already have in your graveyard. And then you're going to special summon them both to your field as level 8 dark monsters. Boom. Just like that, we have 2 level 8s on the field, so now you can go into either your number 22 Zombie Stein if you want to negate monster effects, or you can go into Draglubian if you want to negate spell effects. So let me just show you what you do if you go into Draglubian. So first we're going to overlay these 2 into Draglubian. Next, we're going to overlay our 2 level 1 monsters into Ensemble Robin. Make sure that you do this now or before summoning number 97, or you won't be able to do this at all. Finally, we're going to activate the effect of numbers 97 Draglubian, detach 1 of our materials, and special summon Hope Harbinger Dragon Titanic Galaxy, attaching it and attaching our number 107 to it as its material. Now we can negate a spell card once per turn when our opponent activates it. Just keep in mind, if you're going second, it may be better to go into Zombie Stein to go for the attack, because if you use Draglubian's effect, then only the monster that you summon will be able to attack this turn. That might not be so bad if you still want to negate those spell effects, but it's just something else to consider if you want to pull off some sort of OTK. So that's it for the main strategy of this deck. That's the main combo. Whip out all these monsters on the field just like that, and all you need is 2 cards. Your Doll Happiness and your Grandpa Tomato or your Box of Friends. Like I said before, instead of going into number 97, you can also go into your number 22, or even your Dengetsu is fine as well. But if you like this video, do be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and of course check out the Christmas merch, which is on the shop at senkara.myspreadshop.com. We have new Christmas Yubel merch that will only be available until the end of this month, so be sure to check that out while you still can. But that's it for this deck. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Let me know if you would make any changes or what you would do for this deck, and let me know if you had a lot of fun playing it. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. My name has been Senkara, and until next time, Merry Christmas.